Defoe, Robinson Crusoe, Part 5. I would go directly home to my father and never set it into a ship again while I lived. That I would take his advice and never run myself into such miseries as these are any more. Now I saw plainly the goodness of his observations about the middle station of life, how easy, how comfortably he had lived all his days, and never had been exposed to tempests at sea or troubles on shore, and I resolved that I would, like a true repenting prodigal, go home to my father. These wise and sober thoughts continued all the while the storm lasted, and indeed some time after. But the next day the wind was abated, and the sea calmer, and I began to be a little inured to it. However, I was very grave for all that day, being also a little seasick still, but towards night the weather cleared up, and the wind was quite over, and a charming fine evening followed. The sun went down perfectly clear, and rose so next morning, and having little or no wind, and a smooth sea, the sun shining upon it, the sight was, as I thought, the most delightful that ever I saw. I had slept well in the night, and was now no more seasick, but very cheerful, looking with wonder upon the sea that was so rough and terrible the day before, and could be so calm and so pleasant in so little a time after. And now, lest my good resolutions should continue, my companion, who had enticed me away, comes to me. Well, Bob, says he, clapping me upon the shoulder, how do you do after it? I warrant you were frightened, weren't you, last night when it blew but a capful of wind? A capful, you call it? Said I. 'Twas a terrible storm. A storm, you fool, you, replies he. Do you call that a storm? Why, it was nothing at all. Give us but a good ship and sea-room, and we think nothing of such a squall of wind as that. But you are but a fresh-water sailor, Bob. Come, let us make a bowl of punch, and we'll forget all that. Do you see what charming weather it is now? To make short this sad part of my story, we went the way of all sailors. The punch was made, and I was made half drink with it, and in that one night's wickedness I drowned all my repentance, all my reflections upon my past conduct, all my resolutions for the future. In a world, as the sea was returned to its smoothness of surface and settled calmness by the abatement of that storm, so the hurry of my thoughts being over, my fears and apprehensions of being swallowed up by the sea being forgotten, and the current of my former desires returned, I entirely forgot the vows and promises that I made in my distress. I found, indeed, some intervals of reflection, and the serious thoughts did, and it were endeavor to return again sometimes, but I shook them off and roused myself from them as it were from a distemper, and applying myself to drinking and company.